So this is the Riker's Beard interview. We're here with Dominic Keating and Trinneer from Enterprise. Myself and Greg have got a few questions for you guys that our group have put together, and we apologise in advance for anything they've actually asked. But we'll see how we do. So, Greg, would you like to kick off with the first question?
Yeah, we just wondered if either of you had been following Tim Peakes' journey into real space on the International Space Station.
Right. Only a bit since I was here, just in the last day and a half. He's been on the news, obviously.
Yeah.
And wasn't he in some costume this morning? He took a rugby ball out with him or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah, the Six Nations stuff.
The Six Nations stuff.
Yeah.
I'm going to assume this is a British guy from space.
There you go.
He's actually quite local as well. He lived a few miles away.
Is that right?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Cool.
Right. How long's he been up?
About 3 weeks now, isn't it?
About that, yeah. So.
He's officially our first British astronaut, although people argue about that because there was Helen Sharman in the 1990s, but she was technically American for legal purposes.
Well, what about David Bowie?
That's a good point.
Top spaceman.
Absolutely.
So, we're going to go straight in with the controversial one, the series finale. We want to know, if you guys had the choice, if you could have been in control of how Enterprise was brought to an end, you wrote the script.
Oh, I'd have killed him.
What would you have done?
I'd kill him off soon.
Yeah. He would have.
Would you?
So, blaze of glory.
I wouldn't change a thing. I mean, I've said this, I've kind of come to this realization that I really have the only character who got to tell the arc of a whole story.
Yeah.
You don't have to wonder what happened to him.
Right.
You know, that's it. And I really like that there was closure for me. In death. And
how did you die?
oh, it was a really kind of a silly way to die. There were many other times that I should have died. This one, I literally
you didn't lock the safety hatch properly.
Yeah. No, I knew I was saving the captain and sacrificing myself, so I pulled out some kind of exhaust pipe, and it blasted me. You ever watch it? Did you ever watch the finale?
No.
You were in
So
it,
it
right?
was a selfless act
Yeah.
to save the captain,
Yeah, I was knighted.
so that he could go on and get another show.
Yeah. And steal my accent.
Mug.
Would you like to do the Shuttle Pod 1?
Shuttle Pod 1 is a first season sort of standout episode. So how did you react when you saw the script and saw that the whole episode was pretty much just about you two guys?
God, delighted.
Yeah, it certainly helps that he and I come from the theater, so there was no intimidation. We were actually quite excited about it.
Yeah.
We rehearsed it.
And oddly enough, Rick Berman made sure we got at least a good working strip at least 10 days in advance of shooting that first day, which is unusual. And I had him come around my flat.
It's the only time we ever did this in the whole.
And we rehearsed it. We did the lines. We ran the lines for a good week or so before we went to shoot that. So we were right off book.
Yeah.
When we went to do it, and it was a little two-handed play, really.
Did you prep by locking yourselves in a small room with each other for 3 days straight?
Well, my flat was only.
We hadn't been to his house yet.
Oh, we haven't moved into the house that Trek built yet.
But that must have been a really challenging episode as actors, because
it was
just
great.
you and a static set, and
to do it with such
nothing else happening
a
around.
good, solid actor like Connor, and it was a treat.
Yeah, it was a treat. It's funny. There's always challenges in anything that you do, but I do think that you have, if you've got the craft of what you do on your side, it just makes those challenges things that, they're just hurdles to get over. They're not things to... I think had we, one, not prepared as well as we did, and two, not had the experience
Could
that
have
we
been
had.
frustrating.
Well, yeah, I mean...
Do you remember, and then the other part of it was when they got fixated on the fact that when we powered down the shuttle pod, they wanted to see this breath thing.
Yeah.
This whole episode was meant to be what they call the bottle show, to save money. So, put two people in a room and shoot it.
Yeah.
And then it became something else once they sort of saw what they kind of had. Once we started shooting, if we're going to...
Oh, I don't know. They'd already ordered those 6 industrial coolers. They wanted this cold.
Didn't that come after the fact that we shot? No?
No,
Okay.
those were there immediately.
All right.
Now, maybe the packing, the dry... Well, David Livingston being obsessive.
And then that was the other thing. And David Livingston, the director, was very
the dry ice
obsessive
thing might have been...
director.
you know, an afterthought.
Very detailed. In fact, it all worked out. It looked beautiful too.
You didn't see our breath.
Not really, but the hard thing for us was we literally shot the second half of that episode in 20-second increments.
Right.
Literally.
Right.
I mean, we'd be on a full roll going on a 3-page scene with a lot to say, and then you just hear cut, can't see the breath. And we were drinking hot tea off set. They literally peeing every 2 minutes.
I think they CG'd a couple of breaths. Did
they?
That wound up being the show, and the rest of it just didn't make it.
So you hadn't actually wound someone up, hacked someone off in the production staff that they thought, let's stick these guys in the freezer for 3 weeks.
We may have. we looked
no,
at
I think I think it was quite the opposite. I think they saw that, you know, Connor and I had good chemistry together, and you know, writers love to write what they can see, and especially on an episodic, it's hardcore. 26 episodes a year. What are we going to do?
Well,
when they see some mileage, let's go with that. You know.
Over here, I mean, obviously, you know, British shows don't tend to run for very long arcs at all, do we? You know, traditionally it's like 6 episodes or something, and we're building up to like 10, 15 now, but we're never near the 26-week format.
No, or year after year of it. I mean,
indeed.
That's EastEnders.
Yeah.
So no, and in fact, American TV is now taking that lead. That they're finding that, you know, with the way people are watching TV now, which is not on Friday night at 7 o'clock. You know,
whenever you want.
They're watching whenever they want. They're finding that they don't need to keep an audience like that, and more's the point, they can't keep an audience like that for year after year. So let's do these standalone, dramas, and that's what's happening. And in some ways, I think it's probably a good development in American TV. Because ultimately, a lot of episodic TV, just you're flogging that pony, man.
Yeah.
And it becomes the same bloody episode over and over.
That's the golden age of television again right now. Mm-hmm. I mean, it really is. I think that there's some of the stuff that's on right now, especially on your Netflix and HBO, and that you just it stands up to anything, anytime.
Yeah.
Yeah, indeed. I mean, it really stands up to Murder, She Wrote. That show's always on here, isn't it? It was on an hour ago.
If you've been a student in the UK, you've seen a lot of Murder, She Wrote, because it's on at the time you all get up around lunchtime. Apropos,
she's a national treasure. Leave her
I
alone.
love that. Don't get me wrong.
New series. Now, obviously the word is out that next year we're going to get a new Trek series.
Yeah.
We'd be really interested to know what your thoughts would be on what you think should be the next instalment. Should it be, for example, something that's a prequel to Enterprise, or a sequel to Enterprise, or a sequel to Voyager and DS9 and all that? Prime Universe, New Universe.
Don't we sort of know what it is?
Future.
Isn't it really? Isn't it the new movies but with a different cast? It's stuff.
We don't know.
I think it is that. I think I read something in one of the trades in LA.
You mean it's Kirk and Spock and?
It's that era. It's the same as it's Starfleet Enterprise. You know.
I always thought they'd do a Starfleet Academy.
I think it is the Academy thing. It's just not using those characters. They're creating a whole new.
A brand new cast.
Brand new cast.
Yeah.
It's Alan Kurtzman, isn't it? That was JJ's right-hand man.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah.
So when this comes into production, will you in any way reprise your roles or some association with your roles, for example, descendants or ancestors or otherwise?
Oh, it's never happened.
That's not true. Sure. No, I don't think that's true. I think that I think that they love trotting that stuff back out there. I mean, on our show we had loads of people who've been on the show before. I think that.
Do you think so?
I do. I do. I think it would be foolish for them not to do that kind of thing.
For the continuity, so this is the same universe.
Well, let me get this round my head. I mean, if they're setting it in the time of Spock and Kirk, and we were a prequel to them, then we're going to look different old.
But you could be your own great-grandson or something.
No. They're going to have the holodeck. Let's change everything. You're going to have an actual episode with Malcolm Reed.
You know that's not real, right?
Excellent.
I mean, I think it's fine well. Anyway.
You both seem to be very comfortable at conventions, and you seem to enjoy them.
Yeah.
Do you have any sort of circumstances or memories, good or bad, from any that you've attended already?
Oh God, plenty.
Anything that kind of stands out?
I always
I
remember
haven't had many.
Arthur,
bad
the Australian, when we were in Vegas, and this Aussie gets up and he goes, I haven't really got a question for you, Connor. Well, Dominic, he said, well, do you remember me? And I was like, well, you're Australian, I've been down there. He goes, well, maybe you might remember, last time I saw you, I was wearing a dress. I went, oh, it's Arthur! It was the meanest drag queen you've ever met in your life, on a catamaran going around the Sydney Harbour.
Awesome guy, though.
So it was great fun. Anyway, so he goes, anyway, my question's for Connor. Connor, do you remember in episode 3, season 2, in the what was it? What did we call that? The decon chamber scene, when you wore those Starfleet blue knickers.
Yeah.
And Connor goes, no. He goes, do you remember what happened to those blue knickers that you wore in episode?
No.
He goes, no. I go, what happened to them, Arthur? He goes, I'm wearing them.
Oh no.
Sure as SH1T. I got him up on stage. And
No, he pulled his pants down.
I did. He pulled
Really?
his pants down. Yeah, he was wearing the damn knickers. And I signed the back of his ass. Dominic Keating was here.
Something your mother must be very
But
proud of.
negative, look, in all honesty, the negative thing, that's not what these are about.
Yeah.
I mean, the only times I've ever, look, sometimes you get tired and sometimes you might get a little bit short, but at the end of the day, we're all here to have a really good time, and that includes us.
And I had a really good time last night.
See?
I'm paying for it.
We've
So
got some footage. If you want that footage, there's a price.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think you'd keep coming back to these as an actor if you weren't enjoying them.
Yeah.
No. No.
Yeah. I mean, there's always, look, I've said this before, 95% of the people that come to conventions are completely normal, regular people.
Yeah.
3% of them, they dress up and they're a little bit interesting, and 2% of them are fucking crazy. And that's just the way it is.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's, embrace the strange. I mean,
Absolutely.
Yeah. Well, I did.
in fact,
Have you chaps had a chance to play with our sets downstairs, our bridge and our transport?
We took some photographs on it, yeah, last
Pictures?
night.
Oh,
Yeah.
fabulous.
Yeah.
We'll look forward to seeing
Yeah,
this.
we did.
Great. Well, I think we've got one last question, so I think we're at the end of our time. If you had the pick of it, and you could have any other character from any series, any Trek series, who would you have played? So other than your own characters.
I'd like to be 7 of 9 for just one day.
If I had her body, just for one episode, she wouldn't want it back when I'm done with it. Let's end on that.
Brilliant. Well, thank you so much.
My
for speaking
pleasure.
to us.
Thank
Great,
you.
Dominic.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Cheers, you guys.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
7
very
of
much.
9.